Hello, Hopsackers. I'm here with Sinead, lovely Sinead of Yogandha oil blends, and I asked Sinead to come along and have a little chat because we were thinking, well, to be honest, it's high time we had a chat because we've had Yogandha blends in the shop for 3 years now, I think,
Yeah,
almost at
almost,
stage.
I think two.
Okay,
Yeah.
two, is that okay?
Yeah.
It feels like a while. But it's sort of they're an amazing range, and they're probably something that we have given. Oh, it's difficult to give enough attention to every product, but there's a lot in it. There's an awful lot to talk about. And anytime somebody engages us about Uganda, we end up kind of waxing lyrical and trying them all, and that's what's amazing about them. I mean, you probably would be the person to talk to, and hence we have you here, in terms of like why and where and all that sort of stuff. And I know you specifically, I asked you to bring along those little bottles today because you spent essentially three years meditating on the blends.
Yeah, we're meditating on the intentions of
Okay.
my yoga students. So
Okay.
I'm a yoga teacher, and my yoga students asked me to make the range, and because they just wanted it to be done for them, because messing yourself with the oils, although fun, they wanted it to be easy
and effective and,
and effective. Yeah. So and I like that about them, that they're just easy to apply.
Yeah.
So I spent 3 years meditating and blending on their intention. On what they wanted to achieve in their well-being and their mind-body wellness.
Okay.
So basically that's how the products came about.
Okay.
The 3 years of sitting cross-legged in my room, blending after intention after intention. So the first intention was grounding,
Right.
because that's kind of what's most
That's where you started
needed.
with. Yeah, big time. That's current urban issue.
yeah, big time. That's why most people are drawn to yoga, and other sort of
The
mind-body.
headspace stuff.
Yeah, they just feel that they're not really. Relaxing,
getting a chance to relax. Yeah.
So the grounding one has stuff that you could almost guess what's in there. It's stuff that's been used for 5,000 years.
Okay.
Sandalwood, frankincense, myrrh, cedarwood.
Is sage in there?
No
sage.
in
Okay.
there. No.
Okay.
But all the ingredients in there have been used in the major meditative traditions.
Okay. Lovely. And so how much experience did you have with those meditations? Obviously you were a yoga teacher, but like there are yoga teachers and there are yoga teachers. There are guys who just do handstand press-ups all day long, and then there are people who really are into that spiritual side, the real kind of grounding aspect of it. Yeah. Where in the spectrum did you lie before getting into this?
Well, I would be much more from the meditative side.
Okay.
I came to yoga I came to yoga about 10 years after I came to meditation.
Okay.
I didn't
really?
actually know that they were really related.
Oh,
I
right.
thought yoga was something like my mum did.
Okay, yeah. That's
I
funny.
didn't really know what it was. So I came to meditation in my early 20s in Asia. I spent 4 months in an ashram, just meditating. Yeah, it was amazing.
Okay. Amazing. And so when you spent time there in the ashram, were you already? You obviously you didn't pick up yoga for ages after that.
No.
Why did you come to meditation? What was the?
So meditation, I just was drawn to it. I studied philosophy in college, and I was just drawn to it always.
Okay.
So I had that great experience. But when I came back to Ireland, I didn't really find a way to integrate it into my life. I didn't really know I could just become a yoga teacher and I would have that. Yeah. So I ended up doing a master's in human rights because for me it was important just to follow my heart. And so I was working in that area for pretty much 10 years, and I was in Ethiopia and Addis Ababa working when I did my first hatha yoga class, because when you're working somewhere like that, there's not all that much to do, and I heard there's a yoga class going on, so I did a yoga class and came home to my poor husband and said, I have to move to India.
Oh wow. So, no way.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of it.
Yeah. So I did India and I did my training there.
Wow! Oh my God! Has your husband been kind of like holding your bags and running after you wherever you've gone for the last 10 years, or what? How's it been? How's that work?
He's been ploughing his own path, because his master's was in international relations, human rights. So.
There's a nice dovetail there.
Yeah. Although we were always in separate countries, we were always in, like I was South Sudan, he was Kosovo, and he was Lebanon, I was Brussels. It was always different countries. Wow. But we live together now, which is good.
Okay, you managed to get that bit sorted at least. That's good.
Yeah.
Wow. And so when you went to live in India, then what did you like? How did your yoga practice develop? How did you do you remember kind of the first time? Like obviously, I mean, you clicked and connected with it when you were in Ethiopia, but there must have been a much bigger aha moment when you were there in India, when it all made sense in the right space and stuff.
Yeah, I did. I did it really well in India. Actually, I did quite a physical practice initially to get strong, and then I kind of got more meditative. So I finished up with Vipassana. This incredible experience of 10 days, 10.5 hours a day seated meditation.
Wow.
Yeah, Vipassana is amazing. I really recommend it.
Yeah, one of our girls has just come back from Vipassana, yeah.
It's fantastic. It's just fab. And that's kind of where I had this realization, because I had brought my oils with me, just my usual little, rosemary, just the basic oil set for self-care, and not even for mind body wellness at all. It was just really for just the basic self-care, because it's the lightest medical kit you can bring, because they're so multifunctioning.
So, sure.
So I had them with me, and I was on this Vipassana where you just enter a totally different realm. So I just smelled some of the oils in that state, and I just felt this incredible experience of, how they connected with me on a chemical level, on a cellular level. I just felt that connection, and I felt how, the sense of smell was the gateway to meditation.
Yeah, basically. So you were saying before you come on about the back brain, and how our will is really all in the back brain. I mean, it's something I understand a little bit from the biochemistry of it, but like the amygdala and all that sort of our lizard brain stuff.
Yeah.
But maybe, can you speak to that maybe more from that meditative, yoga-driven and essential oil-driven kind of thing?
Yeah, sure. So basically the purpose of yoga, not a lot of people know, but the purpose of yoga is to quieten the thinking mind and open up the back brain, which is the more intuitive brain, the atemporal brain, actually the part of the brain that makes you feel like you're just connected with all things. It's such a beautiful feeling. So that's really the purpose of yoga, to quieten this thinking mind and open up. And the sense of smell is the only one of the senses that has a direct connection with the back brain. The only one of them. And that's because of the way the brain developed. Like at one stage in our evolution, we were pretty much all smell receptor.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
We mustn't make much crack.
I know. Yes, a lot of sniffing. And probably a lot of bad smell as well.
Yeah, we were just going around smelling on all fours at that point. But it was what we needed for survival,
But imagine
what was good, what was bad.
Exactly, and that's what drives us, isn't it? Yeah, and our taste and our smell is still our best intuitive toolkit to kind of tell us, or give us a bit of a path.
Exactly, the gut. It's the gateway to this kind of gut feeling. But it's much more awesome than people realize. The reason people are skeptical about the sense of smell.
Yes,
they just are. You say the sense of smell, they go, doesn't do anything. The reason for that is super interesting. It's because we're rational beings. We perceive ourselves as rational beings. We perceive that as being important. So, and I love this. When people, when you smell milk and it's gone off, you always smell it a second time.
Yeah, you don't trust it.
But you knew it was gone off the first time.
It's
and
weird.
That's the front brain, back brain divide. That's the front brain going,
just
I don't trust
overriding
you.
it. No. Logic. We'll go back to the well.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fascinating.
So that's why. So even now people go, no, smell doesn't do anything. But then you go, the way it changes how you feel, completely, immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So they know intuitively, but they'll always be skeptical about it. So.
And there are those amazing smell memories you'll get, and I'm sure you've had loads of them from your time in India. They're the smallest thing. Sometimes it's just the smell of good coffee, but I remember there's one that I have from when we were kiddies. We used to go on holidays to the Channel Islands. We went to this place called Sark, and there's a distinct smell going up what's called Descartes Lane, which is a mixture of horse poo and it's something really good from the trees. And I've had it once since in the Phoenix Park, and wow, it's a flashback. Like you're there. Like there's nothing as transportive as kind of smell as the olfactory sense.
And the reason for that is because the sense of smell is located in a part of the brain that's atemporal. It's in a part of the brain that was created before we had a sense of time. Which means it's a magic portal, basically. So that's kind of the purpose of these. It's so cool. So the purpose of these is that you use them ideally with a mind-body practice. Because if you use one of them, say in meditation or with yoga or with anything that you find relaxing, it'll bring you back to that state every time.
It makes sense.
It won't just bring you back to I really remember. It's not above the head. It's a full body physiological recreation of that state because it's atemporal. You feel that you're there, so you recreate that physiological state.
Yeah, amazing. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's so powerful.
So you spent a lot of time making up these blends, and they're bonkers blends. Like, to be fair, you come along and you smell them, and she has helpful little monikers in the front, like grapefruit and bergamot, jasmine and cypress. When you smell, you're like, that's not just jasmine and cypress. And like, you spent how long doing all of this? It was 3 years.
It was a full 3 years meditating and blending, and it was a 24/7 job because. It was happening, like myrrh travels through the body. It takes about 48 hours to get through the body.
Really?
Yeah. Myrrh is really like rosemary is in the liver within 20 minutes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Those myrrh is just really
the real heavy kind of scent. Okay.
So I would be in my bed and I would kind of feel like, and this has happened in meditation sometimes, you're almost thrown out of your bed.
Okay.
And I'd go into my room and sit there and go, what about vetiver? around cedar wood, what's happening there? And then you add
yeah.
this, and it's a trance type thing.
Wow.
Yeah, and my little salt lamp, and just sitting there in the middle of the night,
How do you remember to eat?
yeah.
Sounds like really immersive.
Yeah, sorry, he does the cooking. So.
Oh, really? Oh, thank God. The husband was there in the background told us.
Yeah,
he's pretty cool. I like him a lot. Support. Cool. So yeah, we brought along some of the other ones. So we had how many versions did we say have of Ground? Did you say it was something like?
Each one, had up to 100. I don't think I got 3 digits, but up to 100.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it really gives you a sense of the import behind these, because it's there's no way of communicating that on a bottle. This is the 100th version, blah 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 blah. They're pretty
and not
special
all of
things.
them led somewhere. Like I spent about 6 months working with spikenard, which is this amazing thing that Mary Magdalene rubbed on Jesus' feet.
Oh yeah, okay.
So it's so beautiful. It's a male hormonal stimulant, but it just feels like peace, which is incredible. To peace and power together is a really rare feeling.
Wow.
So I
And
spent
what were you
about
blending it with?
almost everything. I tried almost everything, but it's really earthy and it's hard.
Couldn't get around it or make it.
Yeah, I couldn't. So I'll come back to it. Another few as well that I just loved and worked with, and they're all mentioned in the Bible and all this. They're all really sacred oils. So some of them worked for me, some of them didn't. So I can, I'll come back to them.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
The biblical references to oils are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah.
And some of the things. I mean, there's lots of weird little theories around the burning bush and the acacia and the potential link between that and dimethyltryptamine, the DM. Do you hear about this?
No.
So DMT. Apparently, when you burn acacia, it actually gives off DMT, and so there's this feeling, and there's an awful lot of situations like that in the Bible where things don't seem quite real, but possibly they were trance induced or whatever when people were kind of having visions or whatever. But there's so much within the essential things, that historic kind of background.
Yeah, and then I love to my favorite testimonial is frankincense and myrrh. 2 out of the 3 wise men brought it to Jesus. It's got
come on, there's something to this.
Good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And are there any of those historic ones that you feel like you tuned into when you were making these that felt like they were coming from another whatever, that somebody else was almost doing this with you, for you? I know that's getting a little bit weird.
Well, no, I definitely feel like I was just sort of there, but I feel like I was channeling. I love to think I was channeling basically nature or the earth and representing them in a way that they wanted to be represented.
Cool.
But frankincense, it definitely is very special to me, and I was really moved last week because a friend of mine told me she was down in Galway at a wake, and she saw Yogandha relax sitting on the mantelpiece, and she so she said, "Oh, my friend makes those," and her friend said, "Oh, we were rubbing it on Mum's feet, in our last few days."
Wow.
And I was so touched because there's 3 reasons. One is that dying woman had that experience of touch and of the the herbs. Second was that the family felt they could do something, that connection, because usually if somebody's dying, you don't know what to do.
Totally helpless.
So having that connection of actually
something that they're actually appreciating.
Rubbing and especially the physicality of
it.
And then third is that frankincense has been used at that stage of life for thousands of years.
Absolutely, sure. It's still burned in the.
It's still,
Wow.
Probably not as much now that maybe people are moving away from religion.
Okay.
I love the idea that frankincense was part of that stage of
process.
life.
It's weird and weird what intuitions might have brought them to do that. Who knows?
Totally. The intuitions that come out are humbling and amazing. That you just get a sense of what to use. Like I was teaching a class once, and it was an evening class, and I kind of thought, right, what am I going to use here? And the yellow one popped out at me. And Yogandha Salute, and I kind of thought, well, that's a bit weird. I usually really only use that in the morning because it's quite uppy. Yeah. But it was there. It was looking at me, so I was like, well, okay, you asked.
You asked for it. Which means nobody's going to sleep tonight, but thanks.
So I used that, and I passed it around the class, and they were all, rubbing it on their pulse points, passing it around, and rubbing it here on their third eye.
Okay.
And then they were talking, and they were saying, with the hour change, because a while ago when the hour changed, they're like, with the hour change, I'm completely out of whack. And they were rubbing it on their fingers.
Unintentionally doing this thing.
Rubbing's the perfect, it was great, full of grapefruit, which balances the pineal gland, which governs circadian rhythm. It was absolutely the perfect one.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, but it happens every time. You'll just get a sense to use one. You won't know why. You'll use it, and then afterwards, somebody will come up to you and say, tell you something.
And make
and
sense
that
of
was
it.
the perfect one, yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
It's
Lovely.
fab, yeah, because it is just stepping into this wisdom, and all that wisdom is there, all this intuition, this gut feeling.
Yeah.
You know, that women kind of know, you get it as well when you're pregnant, you get it, you know, you get this gut feeling of,
You can
suddenly know everything.
It's sort of unlocked. Yeah.
And the sense of smell gets much stronger when you're pregnant for the same reason. It's the same part of the
That's
brain.
a fascinating point, actually,
It's the same part of the brain, you know, when
Of
you're pregnant,
course.
your front brain quietens, so you have no idea where you left your keys.
Yeah.
But your back brain is open, you're like, I suddenly know.
So you just douse your keys in Yogandha salute, wherever they are, they'll come to you.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Deadly. And so my own personal experience, I mean, we met, 3 or 4 years ago, possibly at a stage, and there was, I think, was it Megan Curry's workshop, or was it?
Yeah.
I think it was Megan Curry's one.
Was the
one where I fell on the steps, I think, possibly?
Possibly.
Might have been.
Steps?
Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, hopefully nobody remembers that, but I really remember. Because it was
you did on
singularly the most embarrassing thing I've ever done in my life. So there was there was like a platform in the centre, and we were kind of doing frog springs into handstands, and I do handstands against the wall all the time. I'm nearly doing them on their own at this stage, but so I at the end of it, after I'd clattered onto the stairs and everybody jumping and broken everyone's routine and rhythm about it, you helpfully introduced me to Muscle Soothe, and after it was 3 or 4 hours, I think, that morning, I don't practice enough yoga in order to really last through that, do an afternoon session and be fine the next day. I wake up the next day, everything is like this, unfortunately. But I went home and I used a lot of it, a lot of it, and had a shower and used a lot of it again later. I woke up the next day, I had nothing. Nothing. It was like I hadn't actually worked out the day before. It was like my body didn't even know about it, which is beautiful. So it really, that was kind of like a bit of an indicator for me. I mean, it's a very physical male version of it, but
no, it's beautiful.
But I found them all helpful since, to be honest. The ground has been super.
Quite different ones, don't they?
They really
use ground.
I use ground an awful lot. I use ground evening time. It's beside where I put my keys when I come in the door. Actually, it literally is. I've tried to I've started to try to kind of engage meditation as an evening thing most evenings, and I use ground occasionally when I'm doing it. I forget to use it most of the time, but I burn frankincense and bergamot a lot in the evening time. Those sort of grounding oils really make sense for me. So what you've been doing some crazy other things lately. I mean, I had an email from you 4 weeks ago saying Richard Branson's about to look at my product, support, and I was like, okay, what's this? But something fascinating happened. You got involved in a kind of a platform?
Yeah, well, it's this thing called Voom, which is basically Richard Branson's support of entrepreneurs. He threw it out. It's the second or third year that it's run, but it's the first year that they opened it up to Ireland.
Okay.
So we all had to make a little video talking about our products, and then we tried to get votes. So we got votes, and I managed to get loads of votes, which is great. Thank you so much for spreading the word.
Well, a few, but not as many as I'd like. But anyway.
But it was great. We got through to the 80. You had to get in the top 80.
Yeah, you were like 81 on the day before or something, weren't you?
It was ridiculous.
That's
that
scary
night
stuff.
at 10:30 at night, we were at 78. 79.
It's almost cruel to be tracking that live, or to allow you to track it live.
Yeah, it really was. And I was kind of giving up on energy, going, right, I've done all I can now. But then more votes kept coming from people, because everybody was telling everybody, which was amazing. People were tagging other people who, you'll get this, you'll understand this. And people were just voting, which was amazing. Yeah, it really was.
Lovely.
So we got in the top 80, and then I had to fly over to London and pitch 3 minutes to pitch to these 5 judges, and that was pretty nerve-wracking, but I was all live streamed on TV and everything.
Oh my God.
But it was a great experience, absolutely cool to be able to do it. So did that, and then I got through to the semi-finals. So so that was 20. So basically went from 5,000 all the way down to 20.
And how much weirdness can you explain to judges in that? Because I mean, what you're talking about here, I mean, you're in a very you're in London, high-power business environment. How much do they understand it? How much were they able to embrace of that?
I was wondering all that. Yeah. All right, so I kind of came at it from one angle, and it was really handy because I had a realization in it. I came to it from the stress management angle, because that I felt would have resonated most with them. And I just had this basic realization that, because I always talk about how the sense of smell is the connection with the primal brain, and people are going, so?
Yeah.
But the realization I have is that everybody knows that stress is a fight or flight reaction, that it's primal.
Yes.
And everybody knows that.
Okay.
So it's like, well, if you know that's primal, the answer's got to be primal. Unless you're going to go with the chemical route. It's going to, the only natural answer is got to be primal.
You've engaged on the same level. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's
so that was kind of cool, And
they bought it, and they go, I was kind of, okay.
Yeah.
Any of them, do you reckon, going to pick it up and use it? Were there any people who were really
They used it actually brilliantly. They used it all night, because it was a 29-hour pitch-a-thon.
What?
Yeah, it's slightly insane. But
Poor
it was,
people.
Yeah, I know.
That's heavy.
But it was really handy because I could give them Yogandha salute, which
Yeah.
just keeps you going. I said, this will help.
Yeah.
And they used it all night.
Wow.
Yeah,
So the next day was horrible. But they were like, I smell amazing. I feel terrible.
Yeah,
That's phenomenal.
So
That's great.
I should have given them relax for the come down.
Yeah, exactly. The
Yeah.
DTs.
Yeah, but no, they got it because I think they got the concept, and then the packaging is so beautiful as well.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's going so well that we're in in 13 countries now, in 100 stores.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Dude, that's explosive. That's pretty cool. Can you explain actually a little bit about packaging? Because the packaging really is beautiful. That's one of the things that really catches you, not just your eye, but it's tactile as well.
Yeah.
There's a Dublin graphic designer, product designer.
Yeah, my neighbour. Rossi. He's
Okay.
fantastic. Distinctive Repetition is his brand name, and it's
kind of exactly what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Did he tap into like mandalas or something like that
The
for these
Fibonacci
guys?
sequence.
Fibonacci sequence, of course. You can see these guys here. Yeah, so she's kind of, each one of them has a different little reference, so that using the golden ratio, which is what nature's maths, basically.
Yeah, how all organic life grows.
Look at that. It's not beautiful. They really are stunning.
So each one links with each other, and that's the thing. Like, my favourite yoga quote is, yoga exists in the world because everything is linked.
Yeah.
I love that, and that's kind of what the packaging represents, that everything is linked. So they all link together, and it's post-recycled and has no glue, which is
magic and rare.
Really cool. Yeah, my mum is currently, I was just speaking to her at home making some of the boxes.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah. But she likes it. It's kind of meditative, she just sits there making little boxes, watching TV in the evenings, and
good
making
stuff.
the boxes. Yeah.
Good stuff. Family business, we know all about that.
Yeah. So post-recycled for else, and it's all, so you can put it in the compost.
It's compostable?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, even that ink is, that's amazing. And it really doesn't seem, it seems glossy, like it's really beautiful.
Yeah, no, it's all 100% natural.
That's amazing.
Compostable.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one thing I want to actually finish on, because for me, they all make sense. They like all the Yogandha range, and I've used them all at various times for different things. The balance is probably the one that has, I think, the most interesting kind of like sense to it.
Yeah.
The least obviously kind of like, this is for this.
Yeah.
But there's something really lovely about it. And when do you recommend it? When do you use it?
Balance. Yeah, it's a funny one actually. There's 7 herbs in there, and they're all aphrodisiacs.
Oh, okay.
So that's interesting.
Make of that what you will.
I didn't mean to do that. It was not my intention. But it's pure. It works on this chakra basically. It's false chakra, sex chakra. So I guess that's gonna happen, right?
Okay.
But it's balancing. So it's called Yogandha Balance, and it just balances, particularly for women, I think, hormonally.
Okay.
So this one actually, my husband puts on me.
Okay, he's like, you need this. I love it.
But it works. What I love about it is they work instantly. It's not something you take and then you might feel 10, 15 minutes later, you smell and you feel like, he says, you need this. I go, no, don't. Oh, I did, didn't I?
I did, yeah. That's amazing.
Instant, yeah.
That's amazing.
So I love that. It has deep benefits as well. They all go inside. So when you put them on the skin, it's really about the initial hit you get from them. And then it's not like it stays on the skin for ages because they're not artificial. If they were artificial, they'd sit there for ages.
That's a really interesting thing about them as well. I mean, it's a shame because you go through them so quickly, but by the same token, that's the transience of smell. That's what it should be. I mean, like modern perfumes, it's not natural for somebody to walk by you 3 hours into a party and go and blast you with whatever they're wearing from
Plus you
Gucci.
smell the same as everybody else.
Well, that's the truth. Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
And these agree with your body. And what's lovely is I think the less natural scents are always going to clash with your body's own odor, whereas these ones, they understand because they're coming from the same place, they're coming from nature as well, and it means that they have a much better ability to mask odor in a way, but work with it as well, not masking in a negative way, I suppose. But yeah, that is nice. It's really nice.
The balance. So the balance, for me, it's for the hormones, but also, the main ingredient of that is jasmine, which is what they say in yoga. Say that's what Shiva wears, which is a very masculine. So he's a masculine. So it's supposed to be.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So it's sort of it's basically yin yang, because it's super spiritual but super aphrodisiac. Okay. Super male but super female. Like jasmine is so female, but it's called the king of oils.
That's weird. I never knew that. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
And yet it's like, it's almost floral, but definitely male in a floral way. It's quite a strong, straightforward kind of scent. Yeah. And does cypress, is cypress a very feminine scent and balancing? It's not really, is it?
Cypress is that big old tree, and it's very good for balancing energy and prana and fluids in the body. Because it always works on all those levels at the same time, right? So cypress is known for balancing all those things.
Cool.
And it kind of cuts the sweetness of the jasmine, but that jasmine is quite earthy anyway.
Yeah, for sure it is. Lovely.
Yeah, but the idea of them basically is they're all very benefits, focus,
Yeah.
grounds you,
Yeah.
balance balances you,
Yeah.
salute uplifts you, and the
Yeah.
same with the big ones. The big ones are quite physical, like muscle soothe, as
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah.
It's amazing after any kind of exercise. It's
Phenomenal, like genuinely phenomenal. I mean,
Yeah.
like I've kind of, no, I probably shouldn't say this, but I've put away my arnica gel for the last few years. It's been all muscle suits for the
Yeah.
last while, and
Cool.
yeah, it works.
Yeah, and what I love about it is that it'll sort the muscles out, but it will also do 100 other things, like it'll sort chesty stuff out,
Yes.
ginger.
Yeah, of course. I mean, what you don't use ginger for? This is a short list.
Yeah, exactly.
And with marjoram was one I know less though. What about
Yeah.
marjoram?
So it's a cousin of oregano.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just great for muscles. Also good for chest. It's very herby. It's the herby
Yeah.
smell in there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
great for the lungs as well.
Okay, that makes sense. Like thyme, rosemary, they all
Yeah.
have a lot of kind of chest room benefits.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then detox. Detox is could be the most popular one actually.
Is it?
And yeah, because it's very, you smell it and you just kind of, it makes you happy. You know, it's
Yeah.
lemongrass and juniper berry and sweet fennel. So it just clears and cleanses. It's
Yeah.
also really handy for this time of year. It keeps bugs away.
Oh wow, there you go.
Yeah,
There's another
because
benefit.
you know the way like citronella
Yes.
does that,
Yeah.
but you don't want
In
to
not a very
burning
pleasant
it.
way, yes,
Whereas,
the fruit's
whereas you
kind
can
of
feel that lemongrass is a cousin.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
just really nice.
But it's actually nice to smell. Yeah,
So that's
okay,
great.
that's
And
good.
what's also handy with it is it's unbelievable for a hangover. Absolutely unbelievable.
Juniper, it's an interesting
sweet
thing.
fennel, well, all of them.
Okay, yeah, of course they all have that. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But it does like the enlivening properties. All of them do. Yeah, cool.
Sweet fennel, juniper berry, lemongrass, all those are great. And
Nice.
if you have had a big night out, you can put that on and you can actually feel your kidneys and liver doing a Mexican wave.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm going to test that
They're
one.
happy.
And the one we actually really haven't got the box for is the relax as well.
Yeah.
Which I mean, lavender is what you get strongly from it. But what else is going on inside?
Oh yeah, it's very deep. This one. This is probably my favorite. Actually.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Hence you're
because
lathering it on.
I just love it. It's just so deep.
Yeah. What is that? It's almost like cocoa, like rooiboshy.
Chocolate.
Isn't it?
Yeah. So what it is well, two things meet initially in that, which is the benzoin, which is a different name, but you know, it's a Sumatran.
That sounds terrible, yeah.
Benzoin and vetiver, which is just magic. Those two meet, and when I'm mixing them, you can see those two find each other. They find each other and they just sink to the bottom.
Yeah, okay.
And that's exactly what they do inside you as well. They just totally grounds you.
Amazing.
And then there's blue chamomile is the top note, clary sage, and there are a lot of cedar wood. And the oranginess is there's some pettigrain, which is the orange tree.
It's beautiful. Wow, cool.
So I use that as a face oil every night because it's full of frankincense as well.
Very
and
nice.
frankincense is the best thing for the skin. Best thing for.
Bang on. Cool. Thank you very much for coming in and having a chat.
Yeah, very well.
I've really enjoyed that.
Thank you
cool,
for having
deadly.
me.
And thank you guys for looking. Thank you very much.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.